going to be doing today is we've started talking about all the concepts we covered this year. After that, we're now going to start talking about the testing portal. So how we can be most successful next week with our math tests on Tuesday and Thursday for teams B and C. When you take your tests, you will be given 2 scrap sheets of paper and you'll be given a reference sheet. Here is what your reference sheet looks like. Does this look helpful?
Yes.
Yes. This information will be helpful for you. You don't have to memorize these. I will tell you this, though. I'm willing to bet. I don't know the answer to this. I'm willing to bet. On both parts of your test, you might use this for a total of 2 questions. And that's it. Not really that helpful in the grand scheme of things. Do you wish there were other things on here? Right? Can you think of some right now? Okay, so what I want you to do is, we're going to practice. You are given your scrap paper. The teacher says you may begin your test now. On that scrap paper, you should write everything that you remember. Formulas, things for order of operations, things for solving different types of problems. That's going to be helpful, so it's a reference sheet for you to go back and look. It is also a confidence booster. Has anyone ever been taking a test and they get to a question and they have no idea and you are just like, I don't know, I'm done. I can't think of anything else anymore. And then you go to question number 2. And it's a pretty easy question that you know how to solve, but your brain is so focused on this other question, now you have no idea how to answer this one. And it's a rabbit hole. It keeps going down. You don't score as well as you could have. So how this helps is for you to look at that reference sheet when you are struggling. Say, I know all of this information. I know what I'm doing. I'm confident in my work. Okay? It also helps maybe when you get to a problem when you're trying to solve for the area of a rectangle and you have the formula written down. And you can remember it and you can see it. Okay? So I will allow you to talk with your neighbors and I want you to write down the things that you wish were on this reference sheet. So for practice on Tuesday and Thursday when you actually take it, you can write these down. Okay, so take a couple of minutes to do that now. These will be important things that you can remember. You writing it down, it's going to help you go into your memory. Stay there longer. You see it, you hear it, you write it. All right, what is something important that you think we would use on this test that we'd like to know? Riley. Formulas. Is writing formulas, does that help us? Just writing formulas? No. So we have to be specific. What are some formulas? Jacob. Is this going to help us? When do I use length times width times height? Parker? Lily, do we use that to find the surface area? Shouting out.
No,
Use it to find volume. Okay, so we would say volume equals length times width times height. What's something else we might want to use? Tyson. Keep, change, flip. When do we use keep, change, flip? Ben. Good. So maybe dividing fractions. Something else we want to remember. Josh. Good. Area of a triangle. I'm just going to draw a triangle on my right. Base times height divided by 2. Let's do a rectangle. Its formula is length times width. We do a parallelogram. Its formula is base times height. Make sure you're having all these written down. When we are looking for a height, what does a height have to have? Brogan. Good. It has to have a right angle connected to that base. So do not use a side length for a height when it does not create a right angle. Example, this one right here. Slanted. Something else we should be putting down on our reference sheet. Aiden.
How do you find the surface area of like a rectangle or a cube, like a cubical shape?
Good. So surface area we might write. Surface area. All faces. Find the area of all faces.
I actually figured out what the equation would be.
Okay.
It would be 2 parentheses length times height plus height times width plus width times height in the parentheses.
That is the correct formula. I did not share that formula with the class. If you want to use it, you can. The reason why it's a hard one to remember. I feel it's easier to just solve for each individual face. Okay? Otherwise, you have to remember all of those things. Some of you, that's no problem. But also, what he just did, he explained, is what you do when you solve for each face. Okay? All right, something else. Hudson. Area of an octagon. We don't have a formula, but we do what? We create 8 equal triangles to solve for the area. Brogan, what's something else? Trapezoid. What do you got? Is that it? We have to divide it by 2. Okay? Divide by 2. That's also a long formula. That's a hard one to remember. What can you always do with a trapezoid? You can create what? Josh. Another one. You could also make it into, Emma? Good. You can always make them into triangle or triangles in a rectangle. What about a coordinate plane? What is this line right here called altogether? X-axis. This is the? Alright, it's a Y. We have quadrant number 1, quadrant number 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. When we write an ordered pair is the ones that are in the parentheses. The points on the dot. Which one has to come first? Quinn. X, comma, Y. Remember, you have to run before you jump. Did I almost touch the ceiling? No. I just ate. Can't jump right now. If I wasn't full, I definitely would have touched the ceiling. Definitely. So, remember, X first, then Y. What else do we have? Patrick. GEMDAS. Yes, if you can only remember one thing, GEMDAS would be a great one to remember. You might want to box in the M and D and box in the A and the S. Why might we do that? Why is that a good idea, Max? Perfect. Dividing can come before multiplying. Subtracting can come before adding. If I was making the test, I would give you a problem where you need to divide before you multiply. Why would I do that? Maddie? Good. So I want to know, do you know the order of operations? If it was just an order, you got it. It's not that hard. But if I do a dividing before a multiplying, that makes me understand if you really know how to do it. I'm going to give you the most challenging problem to see if you can do it. What else would you like to put on this reference sheet? Tyson? Good, you can do that. You can do plus, plus, minus, plus, minus, minus, and plus, minus. Brogan? Ooh, dirt. D equals R times T. Distance equals rate times time. Clayton? Talking about, a number line, yeah. Absolutely. Now, if you draw this number line, you might have to redraw a number line later on because depending on what type of numbers they're asking based off the number line. Tyson. Okay. There's not much, I don't know how much information we could write from that. You might just be able to solve from there. Okay? Alright, one of the other couple things I want you to remember, not sure if you can write it down as a reference sheet, but if we are adding or subtracting with decimals, what do we need to remember? Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1. Line up the decimals when you add and subtract, but not when you multiply. Some of you are too cool. Okay. Remember, is it appropriate for you when you get a problem like that to go during the middle of the test? Line up the decimals when you add and subtract, not when you multiply. Yes. Would that be appropriate?
Yes.
No. Okay, it would not be appropriate, but this would be appropriate. I'm taking the test here, and I go like this. Line up the decimals. Okay, instead of using my arms, I can use my fingers. Okay, to help you remember. I think I know what you're going to say. Alright, everyone grab something. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Swoop, there it is. Swoop, there it is. Swoop, there it is. Chocolate. You like that commercial?
Yeah.
Sprinkles! Are we good? Anyone want to add anything else before we move on? Okay, great job. Again, you don't have to do all this. I will say that it's helpful to give you confidence, to give you something to look back at when you may be struggling. How could I forget? If you're not sure about something, you should always see if it could use a T-chart. A T-chart are going to be helpful. Brogan. I did forget the joke. We're going to do it right now because we're moving on from this. Everyone good? Perfect. So, we have our joke. What gets wetter the more it dries? All together. A towel. And no laughs? There we go. Just what I was looking for. Okay, next thing we're going to do, I want you're just going to be looking up here at the screen. What we're going to talk about is your testing portal. So when you get logged onto the test, this is one of my favorite things to do every single year. It's a lot of fun. So just follow along. This is like you're getting signed into the test. You know how to do this. We'll explain how to do this today in the test. We're going to choose our test here. And we're going to take the math practice test. You've chosen your test. And now you have a settings that we'll talk about in the all the directions that we have to read. If I were you, I highly recommend, I'm telling you, you should probably not adjust anything. Once you adjust these, you cannot go back and turn them back on. So an example, your highlighter, the test clock, the masking, the strike through, you don't get any of that if you turn them off. If you keep them on, you can use them if you want, but you don't have to. You have a reading tools. They have a line reader. They have text to speech. Text to speech means they will read you every single question and the answers. If you spend a lot of brain power just reading, maybe you're a struggling reader, and you just want to focus on the math part of it, they'll read you the question, you focus on the math. Okay? You don't have to use that. It's an option, which is really nice for everyone to have that option. There's some other things here. Again, I wouldn't mess with those. Good with that? Keep them the way they are. Then you have an audio video check. So this is the really fun part. We get to play with the sound settings. This is what it sounds like when you just leave it the way it is.
This text is being read aloud.
Right? You also have, you can use a male or here's a female.
This text is being read aloud.
So that is the normal, that's the setting. I again highly suggest that you leave it alone. Because we're going to go through all the examples that you could have. And I'll show you why you wouldn't want to mess with them. So we're going to start with moving our pitch all the way up.
This text is being read aloud.
Sounds similar, right? The pitch is just a lot higher.
This text is being read aloud.
All right, let's go with our pitch really high and our rate really high.
This text is being read aloud.
Okay, if you were to get to that setting, do you think you'd be able to understand the text to speech?
No.
It would be so hard to keep up. All right, let's go with our pitch really low and our rate in the middle.
This text is being read aloud.
And then our rate is really high with a low pitch.
This text is being read aloud.
This text is being read aloud.
All right, now, you ready for my favorite ones?
Yes.
The slow ones are the best. So we have a high or low pitch and a low rate.
This text is being read aloud.
That's the female, and here's the male.
This text is being read aloud.
And that one's good, but a high pitch is just perfect.
This text is being read aloud.
And here's the female.
This text is being read aloud.
So, that's why we don't mess with them when we get it. Just keep that to normal. Why we played around with it now is so that you can enjoy the fun of it, and in test day, you can focus on showing what you know. We're going to, yes, I heard the voice, continue. Here's your part. Now, you're going to begin test now. Here are some of the things that you can use inside the test. Inside the test, you can use masking. You can use boxes for whatever reason that you want. What I don't want to see is on your test, I don't want to see this. Why do I not want to see this? It's because you're not focused, not giving your best effort. The only thing that we can ask from you is to give your best effort. You also have your formula sheet up here in the top right-hand corner. You have a spot where you can write notes. Maybe you want to type your reference sheet. Instead of writing it on a piece of paper, you can type it. You have line readers, just like your ELA. Then, let's go to a question like this. We want it read to us. We click on the 3 dots, so 3 lines. We go to speaker question.
Fatima draws a quadrilateral in the coordinate plane with the conditions shown. The quadrilateral has exactly one pair of parallel sides. 2 of the vertices are.
So, that's why we don't do it, because if you want to use the text-to-speech and you accidentally click on that, that's how it's going to read to you the whole test. You cannot change anything back. And the last thing I'll show you is on multiple choice. Again, you have the option for strike through. You can cross some answers out. Questions? Comments? Concerns from this? All right, you need to get out your 6th grade math review packets. We are going to start with question number 27. So please make your way. Or actually, I forgot. We're going to go over question number 5 because a lot of people had questions from last week on question number 5. Okay, question number 5. We had troubles doing this last week when I went around to help people real quickly. I can't look at every 40 questions, 50 questions that are on here and know all the answers immediately. I didn't know the answer right away. Okay? It took me a couple of minutes to sit down and really look at this question to figure out how to solve it, because it's not an easy one. If you look up here, we need to try to find the area of this triangle, QRS. You cannot take the base of the rectangle and multiply it by the height of the rectangle and divide by 2. Why not? Why can you not do that in this case? Quinn? It doesn't have a right angle? Good. The base of this rectangle is a different length than the base of this triangle. The height of this rectangle is different than the height of this triangle. So you cannot multiply the base times height divided by 2 to get the area of that triangle. What can we do though? What else do you notice up here? Hudson? That it's diagonal, okay. That's why we can't use base times height of the rectangle and divide it by 2. Lily?
That's on a coordinate plane?
It's on a coordinate plane. That's helpful. Aiden?
That triangle, the way it's put in there, makes multiple other triangles?
Exactly. There it is. Nice job, Aiden. We can create, or this created, 3 other right triangles. Can we find the area of those 3 triangles? Yes, we can. So first, what you have to do is find the area of the rectangle. The rectangle is 4 by 5, which is 20 units squared. The area of this triangle right here has a base of 2 and a height of 10. I take 2 times 10. Oh, that's not 10, that's 5. I'm sorry. 2 times 5 to get 10. Divided by 2 to get 5. Right here. The area of that triangle is 5 units. The area of this triangle on the bottom left, it's 2 units by 2 units. Base is 2 times the height is 2. That's 4 divided by 2. This triangle is 2 units squared. This triangle up here, how big is it? What is its area? Macy? 3 by 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. Divided by 2 is 6. I add up all the areas of these 3 triangles, which is 13. 13. So I take 20 minus 13 to get 7 units squared. Is that an easy question? No. You have to look at the questions carefully. There's probably going to be an answer on there that if you just look at the question, and there's probably going to be a quick answer. A quick answer was 10. Because you didn't think through the problem. You have to use what we know. Find shapes that we know how to find the area of. The last thing I'll say, and I'll come back to you, brother. These questions on this test are not meant to be easy. They are meant to challenge the highest thinkers throughout the state of Ohio in 6th grade. They want to challenge the highest learners. So, it's not meant to be easy. You have to think through every single question. Take your time and reason through them. Do not rush. If you rush, you'll get answers like 10 that are not correct. Brogan. Sorry. If it comes back to you, let me know. Okay, now go to question number, what did I say, 27? 27. I want you to solve question number 27 with your neighbors. I will share with you again, if you show your work, what I'm about to show you, if you do this for every single problem, it's going to make it easier. Is it more work? Yes, you're writing more, but you're getting to the correct answer. Most of you, almost all of you, will have plenty of time to complete this test. So how you start is, we're going to plug in 5.6 plus 0.4 C. We're going to use 0 first. So times 0 is less than or equal to 6 is 0. If you combine these, 5.6 plus 0.4C to get 6C, can you do that? Can you combine 5.4 plus 5.6 plus 0.4C? Are they like terms? Do they look like each other? No, one has a variable, the other one does not. You cannot change this to 6C. Here's our example. 6 times 0 is 0. 0.4, order of operations, we get to this first, is 0 plus 5.6. Is 5.6 less than or equal to 0? No. We can cross off D. Then we go to the next number, 5.6 plus 0.4 times 0.875 is less than or equal to 6 times 0.875. When we solve that, you should get an answer. Write your answers in here and see if it works. Do this for every single number. Cross them off if they do not work. I don't know the exact answer here, but I know this one does not work. So C gets eliminated. That means you have to try the rest of the two. You have to try 1 and 2 because you have an answer of 2.5 and 1. Yes, it may look like a lot more work. You're able to visualize it and see it. It's not just done on your calculator. It's not just done in your head. The correct answer here is D, 1 and 2.5. Next question I want you to go to is question number 36. Question 36. So a sandwich shop sells sandwiches for $5.95 each, including tax. The shop received a total of $71.40 from the sales of sandwiches one afternoon. Which equation can be used to determine the number of sandwiches X sold by the sandwich shop that afternoon? Which equation works? Jacob. C. We take the price per sandwich, multiply it by how many sandwiches sold equals our total price. That is exactly right. All right, nice job with that. Now we're going to go back to question number 35. What do you notice when you see this shape up here? What do you see? Clayton. Two parts, right? We are looking to find this shaded part of the rectangle. What other shapes do you see? There's multiple parts. Give me specific. What do you notice? Maddie? Okay, you see a triangle and a rectangle. What else do you see?
You split, like, in between where the bottom of the 6 centimeters is, you have to split that. You can make 2, rectangles.
Okay, what I will tell you to do is, do not split something that's not given to you. We can solve this problem without splitting it here. Because us splitting it here, we are assuming something. Okay? The other thing that you can see is, what is the gray shape? What shape is that? It's a 4-sided shape that has one set of parallel lines. Just tilt it. What is it? Brogan. It's a trapezoid. 2 ways to solve this problem. If you want to use the formula for area of a trapezoid, base 1 plus base 2 times the height and divide it by 2, you can. I wouldn't recommend doing that because that is a hard formula to remember. How else could you solve for this? A much easier way, in my opinion. Just for the gray. Emma, what do you think? Good. Find the area of the rectangle. It's 10 centimeters by 140. The whole thing, the whole rectangle, is 140 centimeters squared. Then what do we do? Then what could you do? Emma, go ahead. Okay, minus the area of the triangle gives us the area of the gray part. The triangle has a base of 10 height of 14 minus 6, which is what, Brogan? 8. 10 times 8 is 80. Divided by 2. This is a triangle. 40 centimeters squared. What is the area of the gray shape? Max. Okay? Again, do not rush through a problem. Read them carefully. There's probably going to be an answer that is going to go to a basic incorrect answer. Something that most people will do that is incorrect. Jacob. The test, you have 90 minutes. So an hour and a half for each test. Okay, no homework this weekend. Please enjoy. We'll come back next week ready to do our best on the math test.